Hello, this is Coding Gicha for full-stack developers. In a CLI environment, it may seem difficult because you have to learn the commands in advance, but it is easy to use without much difficulty because it has powerful history functions, auto-completion functions, and character conversion functions. Since the commands you have previously executed are recorded as history, you can simply recall previous commands by using the up and down arrow keys. This powerful history function of the bash shell is very useful because the previous history remains even after rebooting. You can check the previous history with the history command. A total of 38 histories are shown, including the history command you just executed. If you want to check only the most recent 9 command histories among the previous histories, you can run it by adding the number 9 after the history command. The clear and history 9 that you executed just before are shown as the 39th and 40th histories, respectively, and a total of 9 histories are shown. If you want to check only the commands that contain VI in the previous history, you can add grep VI with filter. The history command simply checks the history, but commands that start with bang execute the previous command. Double bang executes the last command in the history. Double bang can also be used with other commands. If you execute a command that must be executed with root privileges without sudo, it will not execute properly. With sudo double bang, you can execute the previous command with root privileges. Let's learn more about bash bang. If you write a number after bang, the command in the corresponding order history will be executed. When I ran history 9, the clear command was the 39th, so if you remember that, you can run it by adding 39 to bang instead of clear. Of course, it's not easy to remember the history order, so you have to check the order with the history command and then run it, so it doesn't seem very useful. vi/root/.vim rc is the last command starting with vi, but there's a permission issue, so let's run .vim rc in the home directory with vi so that it becomes the last command starting with vi. The last command in the history that starts with a specific word can be called by adding the word after bang. When you run bang vi.vim rc will be executed. If you want to check before executing the last command that starts with vi, you can add :p after it. The last word of the previous command can be called c with bang $. Since we opened .vim rc with the vi editor, .vim rc is printed. This time, instead of vi, let's open the file with nano. You can exit nano with Ctrl+X. Let's open it again with vi. Just like when you opened the file with the nano command, you can call .vim rc with bang $. You can also call the last word of the previous command with $_. However, if you use the last word of the previous command as a variable, you can't know exactly which word will be used. When you type alt period, the last word of the previous command is printed directly at the cursor position. If there are other files with similar names, you can easily edit them and open them with different file names. Bash shell provides an auto-completion feature, so you can easily execute commands even if you don't know the exact command. If you install GNOME browser connector with apt, you only need to type up to sudo apti and press the tab key to complete sudo apt install. If you type up to gnomeb and press tab, there are multiple packages starting with gnomeb, so it won't auto-complete, but if you press tab again, a list will appear. There is GNOME browser connector in the list, and there is only one package starting with gnomebro, so if you type up to gnomebro and press the tab key, all remaining commands will be completed. Thanks to the auto-completion feature, you can use it without any inconvenience even if you don't know the exact command. Let's recall the previous command with the up arrow key. Ctrl+W will cut the word to the left of the cursor position. To paste the cut text, press Ctrl+Y. Let's paste it again. To move the cursor by word, hold down the Control key and press the left or right arrow keys. The shortcut key to cut from the cursor position to the first letter is Ctrl U. I will paste the cut letters back with Ctrl Y. The shortcut key to cut from the cursor position to the last letter is Ctrl K. When deleting the entire command, you can also delete it at once with Ctrl U or Ctrl K, considering the cursor position. Pressing Alt R will revert to the state that was initially loaded from history. Let's take a closer look at moving the cursor and positioning by word. If you use the Ctrl key and the left or right arrow keys in combination, you can move by word. When moving the cursor, spaces or paragraph marks are all separators, but in the cut operation, only spaces are separators that separate words. You can also swap the positions of words. Try pressing Alt-T. The word at the cursor position and the previous word will swap. Ctrl-T will swap positions one letter at a time. To capitalize the letter at the cursor position, press Alt-C. This will move the cursor to the end of the word. Alt-U will capitalize all letters in the word. Alt-L will lowercase all letters in the word. By pressing Ctrl/, you can revert to the previous state of the current command one by one. On the Coding Gicha site, you can check the table of bash bang syntax, bash-related shortcuts, clipboard-related shortcuts, etc.
Thank you for watching.